Skál, everybody. Welcome back to another AnKorage Extra video. In my previous video, I unboxed my Atari VCS. And here it is in the box. I still haven't opened this box. And yeah, some folks would say, well, that's not a box opening video or anything like that. Well, here's the box it came in. I opened the box. Anyways, moving on. We're actually going to open up this box. So, got my little trusty knife here. Break the tape seal here. I'm going to do both sides, just in case. And I will keep this like this. Here's the back of it, where it says, you know, what's inside, the VCS itself, the modern controller, and the classic joystick, and it's got some screenshots of different things. So I'm not going to focus on that at all. Now the box is actually in half decent shape. It has been smacked around lightly. A couple of here, you know, in the corner here, it's got a little bit of buckling, but you know, that's just from probably just from package handling. I don't point fingers at anybody in particular, but this was loose in this box, and there's a little bit of play in here, so it could have been caused by them. It could have been caused by the handlers at the fulfillment center. Who knows? So, if anybody wants to investigate that, go for it. But, you know, structurally, the box is in perfectly fine shape. So, I'm not worried about that. Alright, so let's get this puppy open. There's that. And I'm just feeling inside to see what kind of a box we've got here. We've got multiple boxes. So, like I said, this is the all-in package that I bought. First one is probably, more than likely, the VCS itself. Yep, that's what it is. This is a controller, and this is a controller. We'll see which one's which. So I'm going to take this box, I'm going to put it off to the side. I'll put this off to the side, and let's open up the small ones first, shall we? So, looking at the box just to see how it's put in. Okay. It's a good quality shape, and we pop off the corners like so, and then we lift it up and over, and here it is. It's got a nice piece of foam on the top of this box. So this box is probably meant to be used over and over, which it likely will. And inside we have the wireless controller. This is the modern controller. A lot of people would be like, oh, that looks a lot like an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller. But this one here is actually very nice. It's got two triggers. One's orange, there's a fire button, and there's a trigger over here. There's shoulder buttons. And the feel of them is, it's pretty nice. Nice and fluid, and it's got some good resistance there. So, and then of course you've got an X, Y, A, B button. And then you've got your Atari button in the center, which is kind of nice. And it's actually charged. And it's got an analog controller for left thumb. It's got a digital controller, and then an analog controller on the right. So I'll hold this up here. You can kind of get a look at it. If I can get the light from outside to shine on it. There you go. So you can kind of see it pretty well there. Pick it up. Okay, so that's that controller. And it's got a nice handy-dandy, couple of buttons on it. It's got an Atari button, so you can go back to the Atari screen. And so we'll put that off to the side here. And underneath this little flap is the actual cable. It's a USB. It's got a USB-A end on this end, and on the other end, it's a micro USB. Which is good. Although USB-C is making a huge breakout, and so it would have been nice to have a USB-C end, but I'm not very particular on that. But that's just a heads up for the hardware developers. And there you are. Okay, so I'm going to put this back down here. I'm going to close this up. And I'm going to put the controller back into that box. Close up the box if I can. There we go. So that's the modern controller right here. This next one is the classic controller, the classic joystick. So we'll get this open. Little foam on the top here. And we'll get this. I'm opening the flap because it's a little easier because of the construction of it. Here's this. Take it out. Take those bags, throw them there. So here is the classic controller. You know? And it also has a cord, a USB, which is like the same. It's got a USB-A end, and it has a micro on the other end. So, same comments about USB-C. And I'll hold this up so you can see it. This is the classic controller. And now if that modern controller had power, this one should too. So I'm going to hit the Atari button, which is right here in this corner. And there you go, and you can see the lights. And I needed another added feature is when you move the stick, the lights light up in the direction that you've pushed the controller. Now this controller also is a paddle. It can spin. So that's really good for games like Kaboom, for example, which I think is made by Activision, but I could be wrong. But you know, you can also use it for Atari racers, you know, racing games, asteroids, things of that sort. There's the classic fire button up in this corner, and there's also a shoulder fire button as well for those who want to use that. So, and then of course you've got a couple buttons for selecting and starting and such like that down here. Now these controllers are meant to be used wirelessly through what I imagine is a Bluetooth connection, which is fine. And the cords are here to be used to charge the internal battery that's in here. There's no little battery door to get to the battery, so it's internal, and to replace that battery, you'd have to get that, and then does not appear to be an easy way to get this open to replace that battery. So that's not exactly user-friendly right there. And I haven't looked at the modern controller, but there we have that. So this is going back in its box. And we'll close that up for now. And now the unit itself, which is in this box. This one here. So we'll get this popped open. That. And here it is. It's got some nice wrapping. It's got the padding on the top, which is nice. And we'll pull the little tab on the side so that we can lift it out. And we'll talk about the device in a moment. At first, on the inside, we've got a power cable. That's important because it needs juice. We have here an HDMI cable for the video. Very important. And then we have the power brick. And I say it's a power brick because you've got a brick. Take this out. Here's the brick itself, much like a laptop computer will have power bricks. So that's good. We'll put this back in, and we'll take these out of the bags. Each of these bags, it's got a couple of QR codes. They appear to be the same code, and it'll let you know an AFG PN number, MPN, HDMI cable, handbook O, one piece. So that, you know, an HDMI cord is an HDMI cord. And when it comes to HDMI cords, you can get the beefiest ones out there. They are technically no different than your cheapos from Walmart or the Zon. But this is good. It's a nice thick cabling, and there's little safety caps on the end of the cable. I will be using this cable, and also it comes with a desiccant, moisture absorber, so that it doesn't get sweaty, humid, or anything like that. So that's good. So we'll put that back in there. And let's see, I'll take the power cable out. There's a QR code of sorts, and then it talks about the fact that it's a power cable, which is good. And so there's that. I'm going to take these bags, throw them in the box. And let's see, it's got your typical 15 amp end, which is good. And it's got, your 3-prong other end. So this here is the exact same as would be used for power bricks for laptop computers. So let's say you happen to lose this. Of course, manufacturers would say, you don't want to use anything but ours. No, it has to be ours. And it's like, yeah, for best practices, yeah, you should probably be using the one that came with it. But should you happen to lose it from moving or anything like that, you technically are no different to use a laptop power brick cable that's the same orientation. Because all it is just some wires inside. It's just power wires. So, but yeah, it is a good idea to use the ones that came with the unit. But, in the truth of the matter is, it's really no different. Okay, so I've opened up this. Here is the unit itself. So, and underneath it is a little thing here that says, "Stop! Thank you for your Atari VCS purchase." You're welcome. Anyways, if you have any questions or problems with your purchase, please do not return it to the retail store. Yeah, it's kind of like bug us, we'll fix it. Or we'll advise you on how to proceed. And there's a web address and a QR code down there. And let's see, for Atari customer care, product operation information, full user manual, and troubleshooting, please visit so on and so forth, which is basically their support address. And then on the back we've got, it looks like German, French, and Spanish in that order. So kudos there. I'm French Canadian, so I like the fact that French is on there. So, a little secret about me. And here's the unit, and it's in a nice little bag. So, now, for folks that remember the Atari 2600, I mean, that was a honking machine. It was pretty big. I mean, you're talking, 70s, late 70s device and such. Well, this is it. And I got the one with the walnut faceplate. This is a faceplate in the front, and it's actual walnut wood. Indiegogo supporters received one with teak. I could have jumped in on that myself, but I decided no, I don't want teak. I want walnut. I had to wait for the pre-orders to open up. And of course I ordered on day one. And over here on the left, or excuse me, on my left, your right, is an LED with the Atari symbol on it, which is great. And it sort of mimics the original 2600. It's flat, and then it kind of raises up angularly. And the back is black, and it's got your ports here. You've got you got your HDMI, USB 3 here and here. You got your network connection, so you can plug it into your network. You've got your power, and then you've got power meaning your AC, and then you get your power button over here. And so let's hold this up so you can take a little bit of a look at it. So there it is. There's the Atari symbol, and you can kind of see, maybe, the light doesn't look quite right, but you can see the flatness coming this way and then angling up. So, and it's got this little rigid, and the Indiegogo backers, this is completely polished, very shiny. I don't like that myself, so another reason why I waited for the pre-orders. This is the matte finish that's on here, and that's what I was hoping for, and that's what I got. The construction of this was originally supposed to be, now if I hold it up and I show you here, you can kind of see all the little lines. Now these gaps kind of mimic the appearance of the original 2600, which I think is great. The original construction, though, was that each individual one would be like, kind of, stacked together. But then they found that was going to be too expensive. So they went with just your standard approach of a slab on the bottom, a slab on the top, and just molding it. And of course, that way it's cheaper. And on the front, below on the bottom, there's two USB 3 ports there. So I have a special place to put this. So why don't we go take a look